What is up, everybody? We have some pretty significant news today for everyone who's been buying UNH and really any stock in the healthcare sector. Warren Buffett's company, Berkshire Hathaway, and Michael Burry just published their 13Fs yesterday, and there is a new company on both of them. It's not a large position for Warren Buffett. It's only 0.6% of his portfolio here, but it's UNH. If you've been following the channel, you know that I've been pounding the table for these healthcare stocks. I think that they are all absurdly cheap. UNH, Elevance, Centene, pretty much the entire sector I think is offering incredible risk reward. We're gonna go over a quick overview of where they look today. The price is gonna be a little higher because obviously the market loves this news. UNH already up 10% in the pre-market. I will put a link in the description of my video from a couple weeks ago where I basically went over the bull thesis for all these stocks. I explain in a little more detail why I think the sector is cheap and why I'm basically buying all of the major players here. As always, if you get value out of this video, subscribe to the channel, give the video a like. Now let's jump into these 13Fs. If you don't know, most funds with over 100 million in assets under management have to file a 13F that shows what they're buying, what they're selling, what they hold in their portfolio. These have to be filed within 45 days of the end of the quarter, and pretty much every major fund waits the full 45 days, which from quarter two, that was August 14th, yesterday. So that's why you're seeing all these 13Fs that came out yesterday. So if there's an investor that you respect, you really like their philosophy on investment, if you just Google their name with 13F, I'm sure their portfolio will come up. The site I normally use to look at 13Fs is Whale Wisdom, but apparently everyone wants to look at Warren Buffett's 13F, I guess, because it's down right now. Nevertheless, it's pretty easy to find this information. Now, let's just talk about what the 13F tells us and what it doesn't tell us. All we know from this document is their holdings of US companies, how many shares they bought and sold. That's pretty much it. This dollar amount you see here, $1.57 billion, if you're seeing people say that Warren Buffett bought $1.57 billion of UNH stock, that's not exactly true. All they're disclosing is that at the end of the quarter, when they filed this, they had a little over 5 million shares of UNH. Maybe they bought 10 million and then sold 5 at some point. Knowing Berkshire Hathaway, I think that's pretty unlikely, but importantly, you don't know the buy price. In the second quarter, UNH was as high as $600 a share and as low as, $250 or $260. It wouldn't surprise me if they bought during this crash in May and that their purchase price was, maybe more like $1.3, $1.4 billion. The price that's listed here on this website of 418, this is just the average price of UNH during the quarter. I would be very surprised if Berkshire's cost basis for UNH is $418. And what this $1.57 billion is, that's the value of their holding at the end of the quarter. So June 30th, when the stock was trading for about $312, the value of their shares was $1.57 billion. The stock has since dropped, and even with the 10% move in pre-market, the value of their holding, if they haven't added any more shares, is about $1.5 billion. Frankly, it wouldn't surprise me if they have added more shares. All we know is they're holding on June 30th. It's possible that they've been scooping up more shares of UNH or even other companies in the past month, but we're not going to know that until they file their Q3 13F, which won't be until mid-November. And while $1.5 billion is obviously a massive amount of money, for Warren Buffett, for Berkshire Hathaway, this is really not a large holding for them, 0.6% of the portfolio, not even close to making their top 10. Warren Buffett, as you probably know, is stepping down from CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. It's possible that he wasn't even the one who made this purchase. Greg Abel, who's going to be the new CEO, is basically the guy running the show over at Berkshire Hathaway now. Regardless of the position size, regardless of who made the purchase, having Berkshire Hathaway be in on a position with you is about the best stamp of approval you can get in the stock market. Now, hopping over to Michael Burry's 13F. Michael Burry, you probably know as that guy from The Big Short, the person who called the housing crash in 2008. I always like to look at his 13F. I will tell you, it is always different from most other major investors. Michael Burry is certainly a contrarian. Some people think he's kind of a one-trick pony. He had a great call in 2008, and he's basically done nothing since. I can tell you that is definitely not true. Michael Burry has outperformed the market over a significant period of time, even if you exclude the great financial crisis. And he's done it while being certainly a very contrarian contrarian investor. He will invest in things that other people hate. He will sell in and out of positions. Some quarters, you look at his 13F and it seems like he just sold out of every stock imaginable. That's probably because he's holding some foreign stocks. You are not required, for some reason, you're not required to disclose your foreign holdings on 13Fs. Now, looking at his 13F, there aren't many stocks in here. One of them is UNH, only 20,000 shares, which it says is 11% of his portfolio. I guarantee you this is not 11% of this portfolio. There are definitely some foreign holdings that we're not seeing here. He also owns options. We can see he owns call options on the equivalent of 350,000 shares of UNH. So this is a pretty bullish position he's taking here on UNH. Now, importantly, we don't get information here on, what is the strike price of these options? What is the expiration date? How far out are these? If you're not familiar with options, to put it simply, he is making a bet not only that the stock price will move up, but that it will move up within a certain period of time. Interestingly, we can also see some other names on this list that we've talked about on the channel. He has call options on Lululemon, on JD, on Baba, on ASML. Definitely a great investor to get ideas from. If Michael Burry or if Berkshire Hathaway are buying some stock, I definitely want to take a look at that company, try to see, what is it that they're seeing. But importantly, you should never buy a stock because someone else bought it. Don't buy a stock because your friend bought it. Don't buy a stock because a YouTuber like me bought it. And even don't buy a stock because Warren Buffett bought it. First of all, because everyone makes mistakes. Even Warren Buffett, who is probably the greatest investor of all time, he's bought tons of companies that he has sold at a later date for a loss. It's an inevitability. If you are investing, you're going to make some mistakes. You're going to buy some companies where your bull thesis just did not turn out to be correct. But really the second reason, and the more important reason why you shouldn't buy a stock just because someone else bought it, is you need to have your own personal conviction in the stock. If you were hearing a bunch of YouTubers just talk about UNH and it's trading for, about $300 here, and then bam, the stock sells off almost 20% in a couple weeks. If you don't have your own personal conviction in UNH, what are you going to do? Are you going to hold the position? Are you going to sell it for a 20% loss? If a stock is down and you don't know why you own it, if you don't have any confidence in the future earnings of that company, if you personally don't have a great understanding of why the risk reward is looking good at these prices, then I think it's going to be extremely hard to hold on to a stock. Ask yourself honestly, how many times have you bought a stock without a firm belief in the future of the stock, without a strong conviction on where the risk reward was, and then when your position was down 20% or whatever, you didn't know what to do with it? So yes, it's a good sign for the future of UNH that Berkshire Hathaway sees value here, but that should not be the reason you own this stock. And frankly, for me personally, I wish that he didn't buy in. I've been buying more of all these healthcare companies over the past couple weeks. I've been buying more of UNH. I've been building out Elevance and Centene. Both Elevance and Centene, by the way, are up about 4% in the pre-market. The whole sector, it seems, is getting a bump from Warren Buffett buying into UNH. And this makes sense. Going back to my sheet on UNH, this is really a question of where are the long-term margins of this company going to be? What is profitability going to look like for the sector? If you think margins are going to never recover, if you think that this is the start of a new normal in health insurance and companies like UNH are not going to be able to bounce back, then yeah, that's my bear case here. And in that scenario, UNH would not be a great investment. But if you think that they will bounce back to this, if you think that they will return to, 8.5% operating margin, then I was looking at a 5x on my bull case for UNH stock over 5 years. I should update this sheet because these are based on UNH at a price of $241, which I guess is what the price was when I last updated this sheet on August 4th. We'll update it again here. Market has not opened yet, so price is still looking at $271, which is I guess where it closed yesterday. My base case for UNH only assumes that operating margins get back to 7%. This is essentially the lowest that they would have been in 15 years. I'm only giving them a 12 times multiple. Frankly, I think my base case here is very conservative. I actually expect UNH to outperform this, but even in this scenario, I'm looking at a 20% annualized return if you're buying UNH at about $270. This would put UNH stock price at, about the high 600s 5 years from now. If UNH opens today at, about $300 a share, I still think that it is a screaming buy. Again, if you've been following the channel, I've basically been pounding the table for all of these major healthcare players. In particular, UNH, Elevance, Centene. I just think the risk reward looks fantastic for these companies right now. We'll also take a look at Molina Healthcare in a video in the near future. There are, of course, some risks here, but the stocks just look really cheap. I mean, Elevance is calling for roughly $30 in adjusted earnings per share this year. That's their lowered guidance from a lot of the headwinds that they've experienced this year, particularly from higher costs, higher medical utilization. Even still, if you look at the price today relative to that lowered earnings number, they're trading at less than 10 times their adjusted earnings per share. And Elevance is a company that is mostly in employer-sponsored plans. That's where they make most of their money. This is a relatively higher margin portion of the healthcare market. I think the potential risks are lower here than, Centene, for example. They are mostly in Medicaid and also the marketplace. I think there's a lot more risk in a name like Centene. Molina is almost a pure play Medicaid bet. You're going to have higher risk in these names. Now, as you know, I've been buying Centene, so I still think the risk reward here looks great. You can find my video on Centene on my channel. While there is certainly risk here, Centene doesn't even need a full recovery to have absolutely incredible returns. For UNH, I'll even add in a negative $10 billion adjustment to the market cap 5 years from now due to possible fines from the DOJ investigation into them. This adjustment barely moves the needle. About 0.5% difference to your IRR over 5 years. I'm rounding to the nearest whole number here, so it didn't even affect what's displayed here in my base case. Anyways, that is the news from this morning. As always, this is not a recommendation for you to buy any one of these stocks. I'm just giving you my opinion. I'm telling you what I'm doing with my money. And again, as you know, if you've been following the channel, I've been buying UNH, Elevance, Centene. And it's my opinion that even with the gain in price in the pre-market here, all these stocks still look like deals to me. If you got value out of the video, hit that subscribe button. A lot of people have been asking where they can grab my Google Sheets. I think I am going to start a Patreon probably within the next month. I'll have my sheets up there, my template, my watch list. Let me know down in the comments below what else you would like to see. If you disagree with anything I said in this video, let me know that also down in the comments. And as always, I hope to see you in another video.